my name is Veronica, and you're watching Dontaesboxingnation. How did that one do?
That was very good. Do just maybe one or two more, okay? Dontaesboxingnation, what's going on, guys? So we've been trying to figure out if George Kambosos was serious about taking this rematch, and apparently he is. Because according to George Kambosos, he has just activated his rematch clause to fight Devin Haney in a rematch. This is exactly what George Kambosos said to News Corp. He said, yes, the rematch is happening, 100%. I have activated the rematch clause. The Emperor is dead, but Ferocious is still alive, and I will be back. We haven't finalized the venue. There's options for Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane. It will be in Australia, which is great. I know I can win a rematch. I will make some changes, and this is my destiny, to show how great I am and get those belts back. I know I can beat Haney. My confidence hasn't been broken. On the day, Ferocious wasn't at his best. I was just off a touch, but no excuses. He did what he had to do with his jab. He is a smart operator, but I have to be smarter at my game plan next time. I'm blessed to get a shot again, and not many Australian boxers can say they've had 3 world title fights in a row. I shocked Lopez to win the belts. I lost to Haney, but now I will be working on a game plan to get the belts back. I have the eye of the tiger again. Did you guys pay attention to that part right there? George Kambosos, he said he will be working on a game plan to get the belts back. That means as of today, Kambosos still doesn't have a game plan. He still hasn't figured out how to beat Devin Haney. George continues by taking shots at his countryman Tim Tszyu. He said, I am still the biggest name in Australia boxing. Tim could barely get crowds to his fights in Australia. The last time I checked, when did Tim Tszyu fight in front of 41,000 fans in a packed stadium? He can barely get 10,000 to his fights. It's small time stuff. I'm happy for the critics to bag me and doubt me. I am very happy with my life. No one can take away the fact that I made it to the top, I conquered the world, and I will be looking to get those belts back from Haney in the rematch. End quote. Now, first things first, according to reports, George Kambosos did 50,000 pay-per-view buys in Australia, which is only half of what Tim Tszyu did. Tim did 100,000 pay-per-view buys in Australia. So, after reading everything that George just said right there, the first thing that comes to mind is what I told you guys the week of the fight with George Kambosos and Devin Haney. I told you guys, when it comes to Devin Haney, he gives an analytical breakdown of how and why he's going to win this fight. I told you when it came to George Kambosos, he was all over the place. He sounded extremely irrational. When he would try to explain why he's going to win this fight, he would contradict himself. At one point, he said that George Kambosos, he said that Devin Haney is nothing but a runner and he's flat-footed. He said this all in the same sentence. You can't be a runner and flat-footed at the same time. And then while Devin Haney continued to keep it classy and professional during the build-up of this fight, George Kambosos, he continued to troll. And I had told you guys, it clearly sounds like Devin Haney has a game plan and George Kambosos doesn't have one at all. It looked like Kambosos' best weapon going into that first fight with Devin Haney was his mouth. He was really relying on getting into Devin Haney's head psychologically. Once again, as Devin Haney completely broke it down and explained how he was going to beat George Kambosos, the only thing we heard from George is, this guy Devin Haney is a rat, he's a snitch. He was just saying things that didn't make any sense. George thought he could talk himself into beating Devin Haney. I told you guys the week of the fight, calling Devin a snitch and a rat and all that stuff is not going to be enough to beat Devin. And that was proven. And once again, if you listen to what George just said, right now, clearly his best weapon is still his mouth, which is not enough to beat Devin Haney. In fact, once again, he admitted that he still doesn't have a game plan on how he would beat Devin Haney, but they're going to figure one out. I was about to call George delusional, but I don't even know if I can call him delusional because I'm starting to believe that George doesn't even believe the things that he's saying. It's a possibility that George Kambosos can just be taking this rematch just to cash out. just to make another big payday, knowing that he has no chance of winning this fight. And if he goes into the second fight with Devin Haney with that mentality, he gets stopped. Even if George Kambosos does have confidence, if he truly does believe he can win the rematch, if George gets more aggressive, he still stands a chance of getting stopped in this fight. Because Devin, he did exactly what he said he was going to do before the fight. Devin said, if he comes after me, he gets stopped. If he doesn't come after me, then I'll box him easy and we go home. I completely dominate him and we go home. And that's exactly what happened. George tried to get a little bit more aggressive in the later rounds. Around 8, 9, and 10, George got a little bit more aggressive. But round 9 was the main round, where he let his hands go more. But the more George let his hands go, the more Devin opened up. And that's when Devin really started landing clean right hands. This is the reason why Devin Haney was mainly using the jab, is because George was fighting such a defensive fight. So in this rematch, George Kambosos has almost no chance of winning the fight. He doesn't even have his best weapon. I told you guys his best weapon was his mouth. No, actually, his number one weapon was the judges, but they didn't even come through for him in the first fight. So now he really has nothing but his mouth. Even though 2 out of the 3 judges did have the fight a lot closer than it should have been, because there was no way George won more than 2 rounds in that whole fight. And 2 of those judges actually had the fight 116 to 112. Listen guys, to me, the only good news about this fight is Devin Haney will stay at the lightweight division longer because of his obligation to fight GK in the rematch, which means there's a better chance for Devin Haney to get the Lomachenko fight, because the longer Devin Haney stays at the lightweight division, the better chance we have of seeing Lomachenko return to the ring. So we'll see if Devin Haney can land the Lomachenko fight before he moves up to 140. Now, when it comes to Tank Davis, Tank, he fights at all these weight classes, so the Haney-Davis fight can still happen regardless if Devin Haney moves up to 140 or not. But a Haney-George Kambosos rematch in Australia is going to be a really, really tough sell. They're about to lose some serious money in this rematch, because who in Australia is going to want to watch George Kambosos get completely dominated again, and this time possibly even knocked out? George should have agreed to have the rematch in the States. At least the fight will be a little bit bigger. But for Australia, this fight is going to be a huge flop, the rematch. But the good news at the end of the day for George is he doesn't even have to win the fight. He's going to get a really, really nice payday, regardless if everyone else loses money putting this fight together. So let's see how it plays out. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com. Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man ScalpCarolinas on Instagram. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo de Key Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodekey.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.